little button to raise hands. That would be, that'd probably be easiest, I guess. So there's some order to the chaos.
Right. Yeah, if you guys want to like raise your hand in Zoom, we can just call out your name and we can talk. Oh, there you go. Priyadarshini Murthy, you want to go first?
Yep, thank you. So one question I had was while I was animating, so I was just using the basic environment with the stairs and stuff. So I wanted to animate one of those inanimate objects. So I picked up a cube and I wanted the cube to like continuously spin, but I wasn't able to do that. So I was just wondering if you know like what technique we could use to do that.
So I have that shot open right here. So let me show you how to do that. What was it spinning a little bit, just not the way you wanted it to, or was it not spinning at all?
I mean, the only way I could make it spin was like we went into the transform and I would just like put a key point like at a certain interval, but then that just seemed like kind of like a waste of time because I wanted it to continuously be in the, like rotating, even if it wasn't in the shot.
So what you could do is, you guys see my screen, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's say we do it with this cube here. Did I make cinematics last time? Yes. So let's go to Douglas's animation cinematic. So last week we went over how, yeah, that's right, my dancing guy. I want to hide him for now because I don't need to see Douglas at the moment. So anytime you want to animate anything, it has to be here in sequencer. Now, side note, a little more advanced than what we were going to learn, but there is a way someday, if you, there is a way that you can kind of like program an object using the whole blueprint stuff that we didn't talk about. But just so you know, in the back of your head, you can do pretty fancy stuff with programming, but we'll just do the keyframe animation because it's not the only way to do it. From what we've learned, the keyframe is the easiest way. So what I would do is say I wanted this to spin continuously for this 200 frames. So what I would do is first, it has to be added to your sequencer. So I'm going to add it to the sequencer. Where is it? There it is. Cube mesh. So that's step one. It has a transform track. And so what I would do is at the beginning of the time, I would set that keyframe. So I would just click. Now you could, if you want to open up transform, you could do just rotation. And technically you could just do the rotation of whichever, like in this case, it's what value. So that's yaw. You know, you could, if I'm going to have it spin this way. So, you know, if I just wanted to keyframe the yaw, I could put in, I'll start it at 0 and hit that little button to set a keyframe. Then what you do is if you want it to spin continuously by hand keyframing it, here's kind of what I'm talking about. See how this thing's the question mark spinning continuously? That's not keyframed what I'm going to show you. That's using that scripted kind of stuff where it's getting that information from somewhere else, but that's a little more too advanced. So we're not going to cover that way, but it's not that hard to make it continuously spin here. So let me show you how. What you would do is you would go to the far end of your timeline and you kind of got to think a little bit, and it's easy to change after as well. You would think over that amount of time, how many times do I want this to spin around, right? So, you know, if I hand spin it a little bit, if I only wanted to spin once in that whole time, that's 360 degrees. 720 if I want it to spin twice. And then you just keep multiplying by 360, or, you know, if it was needing to loop, you would need an actual landing on 360. But if you're just wanted to keep spinning at one point and ended the other, I could put something like 2000 as my ending keyframe point. So at the beginning, it's here. At the end, it's here. And if I hit play, whoops, at the beginning, It's going to start spinning, and it's going to spin and spin and spin and spin until it gets to the end. Now you'll notice the default is when you animate anything, it's going to ramp up and then ramp down. So it's going to start. So like a car, from a stop sign to a stop sign, right? You start slow, you speed up, and then you slow down again to the other stop sign. So that's what it does by default, but you don't have to do that. You could, and what's the quickest way to show you this? If I select that particular track, this little drop down right here, I can tell it to be linear instead of this default here of cubic. And that means, well, actually it's easier to show on the actual curve. So if I select this and then hit this button, this shows you the curve. So this is kind of the speed. This is your frame number, and this is your value, and this is your frame number going this way. So this is showing that as you go, so watch, so that's my timeline. This bottom part of the curve, because it's flat and then starts to increase, it's going to start slow and then increase. And then from here to here, it's about the same speed. Then it starts to slow down. So this is kind of like animation 101 curve editing. If I want it to start off, say car analogy, when you go from a stop sign to stop sign, you start at 0 miles per hour, and then you start increasing your speed to maybe 35 miles per hour. You hold it steady, and then you level back out to zeros. But say in this case of my spinning cube, I want it to be instantly 35 miles per hour. I don't want it to speed up to 35. I just want to be like electric car, just boom, go 35 miles per hour. So that means at this 0 point, you need to switch the type of curve here. You could hand change it, like I can hand drag and change this line, but really I want perfect linear. So I would hit this little button up here that says linear interpolation at both ends. So now that is a straight line which describes the speed of the object. So now if I close this, start over, you'll see it instantly start spinning at its normal speed, and it's going to stay that way the whole time until it gets to the end. So it's just going to keep spinning. Now, if you look at it and you're like, oh, it's too fast or it's too slow, you just got to go to this last keyframe and reset this value to something else. So maybe I want it half that speed. So I just set it to 1,000 instead. Make sure I hit the set a key button there again, and now play it again, and it's half the speed. So you really only need 2 keyframes, one at the beginning, one at the end, and then just adjust the end one to get the speed that you want. Long answer, but hopefully that hopefully makes sense.
Yeah, thank you.
Excellent.
Okay, let's see. Next one, Laksana Sivakumar.
Yes, I have a question. How do you get the camera and the video shot? Like, how can you take your animation and make it a video?
Got it. So do you have a camera already in your shot? Like
Yes, I already added a camera to my shot.
So I haven't. So let me add a camera to my shot, and then I'll show you how you can make a video out of that. So let's say I want to make a video of my spinning sphere or spinning cube. It's on the timeline. It's animating. I don't have a camera yet. So let me add a camera to do. I would say the easiest way to add a camera in a shot, for those who haven't yet, is just hit this little camera button right here in the sequencer. Now that's my camera. It's active. I mean, it's live. If this up here has a little pilot active camera, that means as you move your view, you're looking through the camera and you're moving it. So I'm currently moving a camera, the real camera called Cinecamera Actor. And that's going to be what my view is when I output the animation. So you got a camera now that you're going to be like, oh, is that all I had to do? If you want to output and make a movie file of this camera framing, all you need to do is hit this button here that looks like a slate, a little clapper, and it's going to pop up an output window. And it's going to ask you, do you want an AVI, which is a movie file, like a single movie file that you can like upload to YouTube or something like that? You could also output individual JPEGs or EXR files for every single frame. So in this case, I would have 200 JPEG frames, which for what we're doing, you would do this if you were doing more advanced stuff and compositing and want to bring it into Nuke and other software. For what we're doing, we're really fine with just the movie file. So you would select an AVI, you would select your quality. So it defaults to 75% quality. You might as well make it 100, best quality you can get, or just uncheck use compression. Then it won't, look at the quality. It'll just make it perfect. You can then also, what you want to double check is your output directory. Where is that AVI going to go? So you would change that by clicking on this little 3 dots to change. Maybe you want it to go to your videos folder. Select that folder. And then you just hit capture movie and it's going to output that movie into that directory. And let's see, I think it's doing that now. Oh, you know what? I had a weird thing. Is it really doing it? I had a weird thing happening earlier actually with this. Gave me a weird path. Let me try it up here. Pictures. I don't know what all these multiple double slashes are. It's giving me a weird error. What did I do earlier to fix this? Oh, I don't need audio, by the way. Well, actually, in your case, if you are adding audio, go ahead and add the audio here. You can also add it in other software. If you want to use Premiere or some other editing software, you could do that too. You don't have to put it in your sequencer. There's other free, if you need a video editor, like say you want to output this and add a ton of different music using a different tool, you can use, for editing, there's a software called Blender, which has video editing in it now. And then also, what's the one that people are using as well? Shoot, I forgot what, I'll think of it and then I'll tell you. Yeah, in theory, you just hit this button that says capture movie. You get a pop-up down here that says outputting movie, but I'm getting an error that it doesn't want to put it here. Why?
Some kind of lighting needs to be rebuilt.
I see that back here. So let me hit build real quick. That's if you make changes to the lights and to the things in the position, it'll want to rebuild the lighting. Okay. So it's rebuilding the lighting real quick. Yeah, why doesn't it like this directory? Can I change the path here? I can hand type that. I wonder if all those slashes are making it wacky. I should be able to write to it says read only. I should be able to write to any of my own locations. I find this weird. Let me navigate the long way. C drive, users, me. Where's videos? Videos. Read only output directory. My guess is for all of you, this should work fine. I don't know why this isn't working for me again. I was just playing. I was trying something earlier and I didn't try that hard. Why, oh, why does it say read only? For whoever asked that question, is it, if you do this, does it work for you? Does it pop up and say writing movie file?
Yeah, it does say it's rendering the video.
Well, as long as it works for you, it doesn't have to work for me. So as long as I have to write myself a little note. No idea unless I have something else open that's doing something weird, but we'll pretend it worked for me too. But that's what you got to do. Just hit that little slate icon.
Okay, thank you.
Next question.
Right, Lucky.
Yeah, so my question is like, so our Unreal Engine is getting like crashed every time we like add an environment. So is there like any reason why, or like, is there anything I can do to add an environment? Because I don't know how to. So yeah, that's my question.
Likely I might, I'm assuming it's just possibly a memory limitation on the machine you might be using. So you're getting stuff from the marketplace and trying to put it in there.
Yeah, I'm getting stuff from the marketplace.
Yeah, without knowing, and that's not my specialty too much either, knowing much about like memory limitations and what, I mean, have you tried a few different ones? Like pretty much every time you're trying to add something, it crashes?
Yeah, I download any like environments, like good environments. I ask people in like Slack, they recommend me some, and I tried those and still don't work. So I was just wondering.
So it goes into your library, then you hit the little button that says add to project.
Yeah, I added to the project, but it's just every time it just says Unreal Engine like 4 gets crashed. So I'm not sure.
Do you know how much memory you have on your machine?
No, I'm not sure, but I will ask and let you guys know. Is that okay?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, thank you.
I mean, I like my machine's nuts because I had to make this really big short film. So I have probably, I mean, I wouldn't say way more than I need. I have what I need, but it needed, I think I got like 64 gigabytes of memory, which is considered insane by most people. But sometimes for some of these things, you need a ton of memory. It's just nice to have, and because I also use Photoshop and other programs and Maya at the same time, and I don't want to have to close a bunch of programs. So I think that's probably potentially what it is. But it works fine for like the basic environment, right? Like the game environment.
Yeah, it works like for the basic one, but like if I wanted to add an environment, it doesn't work. So
Yeah, that would be my gut, is it might just be your machine complaining it's not quite got the power for it. But I mean, I saw your Slack in there. Let me see if I can find a really, really lightweight environment to see if it's something that we can squeeze by. Just make sure it's not like an import problem, but more just a memory problem. So I'll do a little research and try to find yeah, I'll try and find an environment that's not too heavy and see if that works.
yeah, thank you so much.
Sure.
Yeah. I have a 8 GB computer laptop, and it seemed to work. It's a bit slow, but seemed to work with some of the lightweight environment. Also check your disk space. If you have enough space, maybe it's running out of space.
Oh yeah, I'll definitely check.
Okay, cool. All right, good luck. Next, Rakshit.
Yes, I have a question. Last week you taught us how to put the music and stuff. I'm just wondering if we could put subtitle in Unreal Engine.
Interesting question. I'll say yes, because I know I've seen tons of like people can put like fake displays. I'm just trying to think if that would be the easiest way to do it versus using adding that as a later process, like outputting the movie and then throwing it into Blender or another video editing software to be able to add subtitles might be an easier way. But I do want to know how I would do that in Unreal. Let's see, there is, so under place actors, there's a text render actor. So I'm going to drag that in here. And let's see, so text render actor, I'm going to hit F to frame on it. What's it? So it says text. So I got an object that says it's text. And let's see what so we're making this up on the fly because I haven't done this before, but it should be fine. What's up? Oops, it's supposed to be exclamation point. Right, so there's my text, and I can probably change the size. Let's see, scale. I can just go to the scale icon, make it bigger. Backwards, so I'm going to rotate it around. So this is like making, I mean, this this might be handy to know if you do want it like animated, flying through and spinning. That's going to be, well, it still might be easier to do in Premiere, but so they come as actual 3D objects. What other parameters do we have here? You could probably change. Let's see, there's a font option. Oh, I see no other fonts that came on my other screen. Yeah, that doesn't look as useful. Let's see, positioning, scale. Oh, you can change scale here. X and Y scale. Oh, text color, you need red instead. So just making it up here, there's some things you can do here. And then it's an object that you can, I guess, put in front of your camera and treat it just like any other kind of object. You could have it move across the screen. If I wanted to animate it now, I would, just like anything else, add it to my sequence here. And then I can add a transform track to it. So it didn't come with the transform track. I got to add my own. But all that does, so now I have transform here. And I can do the same thing like we just animated that block spinning. I could set a key at the beginning, go to the end, have my thing spin around, set another key. All right, so now I have, oops. So I have a spinning text. If you really just need like subtitles, I don't know if this would be the way I would do it. I would maybe use either, like I said, Blender or, oh, I can't remember that. I'll post it in Slack when I remember what the other free software is now that
It's a DaVinci Resolve.
That's what it is. You're right. Yep.
That's pretty good. And like if you guys have like iMovie, stuff like that, that's pretty easy to put your video track and add subtitles to it.
Yeah, I think that I agree. I think that'd be easier, even though you're like, not another software. And if you are going to be doing that, that's probably a better place to put in audio as well, because you have a lot more control over audio levels and mixing and blending and things like in sequence here. This isn't much of an editor in the same way as something like DaVinci Resolve would be. So I'll have to go find a good video for intro to DaVinci. It's actually not that. You get, if you can handle Unreal, you could totally handle it. You know, it's a lot like what we're doing in here. It's very similar to what you would do in something like that. So yeah, looks like it's possible. And I'm gonna look into what other options there are, if there is more of a camera locked text feature, in case that would be useful. But I haven't played with it myself, but there's that. Good question.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Right, April?
Like multiple animation sequences, like you know how you do the shot 1 and shot 2 things. So if you make more of those, how do you combine them all together when you click the render to the move thing?
Beautiful question. I guess I didn't cover that last week, did I? So, or maybe I did, but it may have been super fast. So if you want, what did I make in it? Well, let me say I have let me set up a couple more shots really quick. Let's do, well, so we had Douglas here. What was the Douglas shot? Let me turn Douglas back on, look through my camera. I'm not looking through my camera, look through my camera. All right, so that is, wow, there's a lot of action now in this shot. So that is the Douglas animation shot, we'll call it. So that's one. And then let's say, what's in this one? Oh, I use this for something totally different. Ignore that. Don't look, don't look, don't look. I was working on another tutorial with this scene. What's in this one? All right, okay, so good. We'll use this. So then back to, okay, perfect. So here is our first shot, and it's a side view of Douglas doing his thing, right? So that's shot 1. And then maybe I either have a continuation of this one or I want a totally different shot. So I'm going to make another shot. So this is same stuff we've been doing. I'm just catching up to you all really quick. I'll just call this shot 2. All right, so it's the second shot. There's nothing going on in here completely. Say I want it to focus on my robot hero guy. So I'm gonna frame on them first, then I gotta add a camera. All right, so in this shot, switching over, you know, looking at this character, which means I need to put the character in here. And I also need a camera. Right, so there's my camera and my character. My character's doing nothing, just standing there. But time aside, I have another shot here with a camera. And it's a little boring. It's just looking at his, let me back up the camera a little bit, set a keyframe here. Where's my transform track for the camera? Go to the end and have it just move around him a little bit. Just so there's some kind of action. Set a keyframe there and hit play, just to double check. All right, so I got this moving camera for shot 2. So I have 2 shots. I could, as you've probably seen before, I could just hit this button and render them both individually, or I can combine them together and play them together by making another level sequence. So the exact same thing. This was a level sequence. This was a level sequence. I'm going to make another level sequence, but this one's going to be used a little bit differently. I'm going to go to animation and grab level sequence again. And this I'll just call all shots. Just name wise, so I know that's what it is. I'm going to double click that. It's going to be empty like they're always empty. You're used to seeing nothing in here. But rather than bring in characters or cameras or anything like that, what I'm putting in this one are existing shots. And if I look at the plus track button here, I'm not adding an actor or a camera. I'm actually adding shots. So the 2 things I've already made are existing shots. So I want to add a shot track because that's where I add shots. So then I click the plus button here and I grab my Douglas animation shot. Because it is like 200 frames, it shows longer than this. So in this level sequence, I'm going to make this level sequence. I'm going to type 500 at the bottom here so I can see the whole, I can see out 500 frames. Then I'm going to drag the end of this longer. Right. So if I hit the little, so if I hit this little camera button, I can actually look through the camera of Douglas's camera. So that's Douglas's camera in the first shot. Then it's going to get to the end of that shot and it's just going to disappear because there's nothing else here. It's just static. So now I also want to add shot 2. So I hit the plus, I add shot 2. It adds it where your playhead was. So I want to butt them together. So I'm going to pop, they pop together. That's the end of it. So I can put my final time here. You don't have to, but I like to stagger mine. So I just drag that down so that when you have a bunch of them, it's easy to see because some of them are going to be really short and it's kind of hard to see where one stops and ends. This doesn't change at all how it works. It's just visually, I like to see them go up and down. It's just easier on my eyes. If I was, so just an important note before we finish this part, I want to click this top button here of the camera because what that'll do is whatever shot my playhead is at, that's the camera it'll look through. So this is the camera in the Douglas shot. This is the camera in shot 2. If I was to click, oh, it doesn't let me do that anyway. Okay, never mind. I was gonna say if I clicked only this camera, I would only see Douglas's camera through the whole thing, but it doesn't let me do that, which is fine because that's not what I want. I want to see each shot's camera switch. So then now that they're all in this sequence called all shots, you can just hit the render button and it'll render one continuous movie of whatever's in this level sequence. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and also how did you get the screen to have like what you would see in like your phone, like a video playback thing?
This right here, like this mode.
Yeah.
Under, so the default, good question. Under the default, under perspective, the default viewport just looks like this, and it'll work. I mean, I can look through the camera and see through the different cameras and such, but if I know I want to be rendering out movies, I want to switch instead to the cinematic viewport, and that gives you the player controls, and it switch to look through my camera. All right, so now I have the player controls, and it also does some things like hide certain elements that you may not want to see. Like it doesn't show the camera hiding back there. So yeah, so that's good point. You often, for what we're doing when you're making short film stuff, usually if you're not dealing with games, you'd usually want to do the cinematic viewport. If you're working on making a game and not animation like we're doing, then you would probably leave it in the other mode. But this is the viewport when you're making movies. Good
Okay.
question. What else?
Okay, I think we covered all those who want to ask questions. Anyone else want to ask any question or?
Yeah,
follow-up
I
question?
had a couple questions. And so like the first question I had was like in the short form or like the scenes that we were just merging together here. So like do we need to overlap them or something like that? Like because like here like we can see like an abrupt change, but what if I wanted to like kind of like fade out and then fade into that next scene? Because I want to be like a little bit pleasing to
Right.
the viewer.
So there is another track. Good question. There's another track type here called a fade track. So if I add a fade track, what that'll do is let me, and it's really just from 0. So say at the beginning here, at the beginning of the shot here, it's like full power shot, right? So if I wanted to ease in, if I set this value to 1, everything's black the whole way through. So I can start it there and then decide where do I want it to come back to, normal. Oh, actually I got to set a key there first. Set a key at that value of 0 or value of 1. It's kind of the opposite of what you would think it would be. Actually that wasn't frame 1. I need to go there and set a key. Now I got 2 right next to each other. Let me squeeze in here and get rid of that second one. So on the first frame here, I have a value of 1 for the fade, and then I just go in maybe 5 frames and set it to 0. And then what that does is it fades into that. Now, if you needed to do a little more tricky stuff like video transitions where one really fades into one and into the other, that I would actually do in like a video editing tool, like the DaVinci Resolve. It's going to be better for that kind of work. So I don't know if you can do. Oh yeah, it's just letting us. Maybe if you went into shot 2, for example, say I wanted. Now this is actually a good example because I think this will work. If I go into shot 2 by double clicking, now I'm in shot 2. I can add a fade inside shot 2 because they're all this kind of the same container. Let me minimize the camera here. So I can go here, add a fade track in shot 2, not at the top level, and do the same thing. I'll say set a value of 1 to begin with, set a key, go for a little bit, set a key at 0. All right, so now inside shot 2 itself is fading on and off. So if I go back up to the all shots, which I can do, I'm in shot 2 and it shows me I've kind of tunneled into that. I can click up here to jump back up to the higher level. And that you don't, because it happened inside shot 2, you don't see the fade at this upper level. It's built into shot 2 already. But again, it still pops. I could fade out the first one, but if you really do need like a smooth transition, right now I'd have to go back, forth. I really would suggest doing that in Premiere or one of those other ones. If you just need really simple, you could do it here, but if it's starting to get tricky, go do it in another tool. It's gonna work better. Good question though.
Yeah, thank you. And another question I had was like, in my short film, I kind of wanted to go from like one setting to another setting.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, how would I do that? Like, I wanted to go from like a subway to like maybe like a war field. How would I do that?
So you could create. Would it be just two different worlds in the sense of like, if you were watching it, would you see the character like blend into it, or they would just be in two different places for two different shots?
I think it's like two different shots. Like,
Okay.
I think the idea was like they're in the subway, but then they're like they're like transported to the other world.
Got it. So what I would do in that case is that would be, did we go over levels at all? Making new levels? Does that ring a bell? Maybe not.
I don't think so.
Oh, well, let's go into class 3 material then. Good question. This is new material, but it's good material, because this will totally answer that question. And it's a huge part of understanding how Unreal works. So right now, this world that we're looking at is called a level. And if you look in the upper left corner, it'll say third person example map. Now there's two words that mean the same thing, and it's interchangeable in Unreal. Level and map, same thing. If any of you play video games, like say Fortnite, they'll say, oh, there's a new map. They've published a new map, meaning there's new content. So it's like a new location, kind of what you're asking. Like you're going from inside of one building to the inside of another building. In Unreal terms, that would be called a different map. The things that are in this are totally different. For example, if I was to load one of those other environments that I downloaded, do I have it in this one? No. Say I got some content from, or an environment, and opened it, that would be a different level. But let me build a level from scratch in here so that you can see, because it's kind of the same concept. So this here is a level, all the things that we're looking at. Come back, Unreal. Where'd you go? Why is that not moving? Hold on. Sorry. Confused myself on something. I'm going to this shot again. Okay, there's that shot. Oh, because I'm looking through the camera. Let me get out of the camera. So all of this, all the content here is considered our level or our map, or the world that we're in. Let's say we want a different location, like maybe it's a little house or it's a car, just totally different location. And I don't want to put it in this location. So for that, you would make a new level. And it kind of ties to games. You know, when you play games, you go from one world to another, one level to another, one map to another. So if I go up to the file menu, there's an option to make a new level. And if I want, so there's two I would recommend. Don't worry about these two, but you can either do default, which has like a plane and a couple lights in it, or you can do empty, which has nothing at all in it. I'll use default just so there's a light, so I don't have to add a light. So I'm going to hit default. It's going to ask me, hey, you made changes to this, the one you have open. Do you want to save those changes? I'll say, sure. Save what I've done, because you can only have one level open at a time. Now all the stuff I was just working on completely disappeared, and this is my new default level, and it shows there's a fog element, there's a floor, so this piece here is the floor. There's a light source, which is up here. Here's a light that comes with this level. So it's just a couple things starting in the level. And if I look at my content browser, I need to put any new map I made somewhere. So I'm going to go to this content level. I'm going to make a new folder. And you'll find the normal thing to do is even though it's called a level, people put it in folders called maps, because remember, it's kind of the same word. You could call it level if you want, but when you import other worlds from the marketplace, go straight to the maps folder, because that's where the different levels are going to be. So here's my maps folder, and I want to save. Let's put in, oh, I don't know. What do I even have? I have in the third person folder, I got some meshes. I'd say I'm going to put in the stairs. So I'm just dragging and dropping content into here. This is where you could use the marketplace and grab tons of stuff. There's actually a starter content that I have in here with some props. So I can put a chair in here, another chair in here. So I just got some. So I'm building a new level this way. So I'm building my own world from individual shapes. So where's I got a lamp that I'm putting. Oh, that's a ceiling lamp. That's supposed to be, pretend there's a ceiling. What else is in here? I got a table. throw a table in here. So I'm building a new level. Now I need to save this new level. So I'm going to go to File, Save, either Save Current or Save Current As. It's going to say, where do you want to put it? So I'm going to go to the Maps folder. And I need to give it a name. I'll call this the simple map. And save it. So notice when I dragged those things into this world, into this map, they showed up in my outliner. So these are all the things I've just built in this new level. I can put characters here. I can do animation here. I can do everything the same. And when you add a new, so this is kind of an important point. When you create a new level sequence, maybe you want to animate the chair spinning around, whatever level you have open, that level sequence is for that level. Let me explain what I mean. Remember the one I made of the guy dancing? If I go to my cinematics folder, this new level right now is open. I can only have one level open at a time. If I go double click on Douglas animation dancing and I go hit play, nothing, like, where did Douglas go? Let me look through the camera. Where's Douglas? Like, he's not there because he's in the other level and the other level's not open. You can only have one level open at a time. So there's an important thing of each of these level sequences. When you make shots, they are connected to a specific level. So when you build the new level, then you make the new shot for that level. It's a little confusing, I know, but that's the way it is. So does that kind of help you get the idea of how you would make another world or another location? You would just build another level or import another level or get it from the marketplace and then make more shots for that particular map.
Yep. And like, how do we merge the shots from the two different levels? Is that just like normal? We just go into the sequencer to do that?
Merge, like you want to play them back to back?
Yeah, like just how we did with shot 1 and shot 2. Like say I wanted to add shot 3, which was going to be in the second level. Would I just like go to the track and drag and drop shot 3 into here?
No, it's a little, so I'll add one more bit of content. This, but actually what's good is that'll be like the end of that story, which is good. Because you can't have more than one level open at the same time, you can't have shots play back together because they need that level open to be able to read that data. So as is, the way I have it currently set up, I can't make a master sequence that has content from this level and then content from Douglas dancing because they're not both open at the same time. You can't, I could physically, I could go to my, let's just set this up really quick. So I'm going to make another level sequence for this particular level. Level sequence, so call it the chair move. And in this level sequence, I'm just going to have the chair here move. So go to transform, drop a keyframe here. I'll just make this a short little 60 frame animation. Move the chair over there, set a keyframe. Amazing moving chair shot. And I need a camera. To have a shot, you have to have a camera. So I'll drop the camera in there. It's a little out of frame, so I'll turn it a little bit. All right, so here's my shot in my other world, right? So then I save that. I'm gonna go back to my all shots. So this is your, how do you mix two shots? So I'm gonna go back to all shots. It has shot 1, shot 2, and then I'm gonna slip in that all chair move shot. I'm gonna add another shot and do chair move. Ooh, I almost guessed exactly the right amount of time there. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to the beginning of it all and hit play. Nothing, we don't see any of the Douglas. because this map is open, this level's open, we don't see Douglas. We don't see anything from that the robot guy. We only see this shot action because this is the level that's open. To open the other level, so this will have a landing. So let's go back to the content browser. You can only have one level open at a time. We didn't go over where did Douglas go? Where's his level? It comes by default in this third person BP. When you use the game, this game template, in this third person BP folder, there's a maps folder. It came that way. And then here's that third person example map. If I double click that, that's how you load a different level. It says you made some changes, want to save those? I say, sure, save changes. All right, now we're back to Douglas. Because I switched levels, it kicked me out of a level sequence. So I got to go back to cinematics, go back to all shots. All right, I hit play. Now we see, oh, I'm not looking through my proper camera. So let me hit my camera. Fades on. So now we see our original first shot of Douglas dancing. Next, it's going to go to our robot guy with our camera. Then it's going to get to the chair move shot, but it's not going to see the chair because you can, that's in a different level and you can only open one level at a time. So how do we get around that? We temporarily combine levels. We don't merge them. We import one level into another. So let's do it. The level we currently have open is this third person, our original scene of all this kind of stuff. What if we want to merge this, not forever. We don't want to take all the content from one and then shove it into this one. We just want to like go to it where it is and pull it in with us, but still be separate, but with us. So it's kind of a weird concept. To do that, you go to this tab. What's perfect is this. I made a video of this and put it on YouTube just this week. So for any of you who are like, oh, I need to hear that again, I just made a perfect video for it. So all of this will be in video form already. So under the levels tab here, which if you don't have, which you probably don't, I'm going to close this. I'm going to open it again by going to Window, Levels. This is how you manage this concept of adding levels to each other. So I have this new tab called Levels. Whatever level you have open, so I have the third person example map open. Remember, map and level mean the same thing. So that's the one that's open. That's called my persistent level. Whatever level you have open, they mean is persistent. It'd be nice if instead of persistent level, this said the level you have open, but it doesn't. It says persistent level. If I want to add another level and join it into my world, so this is my world, I go to Levels, Add Existing, and then I go find it. If you were somewhere else, you'd have to go find where you saved your other level. Say Simple Map and Open. Now that means I have the content from both the open level and the simple map. And you're gonna say, well, where'd the chair and all that kind of stuff go? How come I can't see it? It is actually because the third person game, it's not built on 0, 0, 0. It's kind of built up in the air a little bit. You can see all the content from that level is actually hiding underneath a little bit. Not a big deal, because the final thing I'll say about this is you can still modify this level. Even though you're borrowing it, you're kind of pulling it into this level to borrow it. It's live. So if I grab this chair, well, let me back up 1 minute. It's live because it's bold. If I add a mannequin right now into this merged world, the mannequin will go into the simple map world, or the simple map. Because if I double click, see how that went bold, and then that went bold, and then that went bold. Whichever one you double click is the one that's active. So you're borrowing it, but it's also live. You can put stuff in it. So if I go to this and make simple map active, I can grab my couch, move that up. And this will, if I save, this will be permanent in that level. So now I put those up in there. So now what this means is both maps are open and you can see them both, so that if I go and let me do save all. I don't know how this is going to affect my other shot that I already animated the chair. Let's do the easiest thing is just do save all, save all. Now I can go back to the beginning of the timeline, play it. I'm going to have, oh, let me look through my camera. There's Douglas's shot. Now you can see the couch is there. Shot 2 is what we would expect. And now when we get to the chair move, it's the right camera. And oh, is that, I think the camera is still underground. So I'd have to remove the camera as well. But this is how it's working. It's just, it's not in the right place because they weren't on the same axes. Long answer, but hopefully that answers how you would combine levels without having to, and this is actually a pretty common thing. People will make the lighting and put it in one level, characters and put it in one level, build a set and put it in one level, and then pull them all together into a master level so that you can kind of keep things in your brain straight and then easily bring things in and put stuff out. How's that? Oh, so and if you go to my little YouTube channel, I'll post it in the I'll post the link to that video covering exactly what we just went over. I'll put that in the Slack so you can see that video.
Thank you so much.
Yep.
Jesse, could they also just like make individual movies with different environment and then combine them together?
So that's what I did for my short film. This works. Me personally, I found it easier because I was also changing frame lengths a lot and doing slight editing. I ended up I just did one shot at a time, output them, then brought them into Premiere to do my trimming. It just made it for me a little bit easier because I was making so many changes all the time that to go into here, change the frame length a little bit, but then go back up to here. Now you see that's like that. So I have to come in here and adjust that. Well, and then it won't let you do that. You got to do that in the other. So there's a lot of back and forth doing it this way. So I was really just focused on a shot by shot method for what I was doing, but neither is right or wrong. It's kind of whatever works for how you're working, I guess.
If it's completely different environment, different characters, or maybe even the same character, right? That just create different projects and make individual movies and then put them together might be easier in some cases.
I agree. I'll open my project and show what mine was really quick. Just so y'all can see how I put my whole short film together, like Cottalango mentioned. Well, it'll take a minute to open. So what other questions anybody have while we're waiting for that to open?
So while we're trying to make the movie, do we have to set up like a camera rig beforehand for our camera to move along with the character? Or during the movie itself, can we like use the arrow keys on keypad to move our camera?
I mean, there's certain things you can do. You could even like navigate, like you can like do a recording of your view. I mean, those get like, I didn't do any of that. It got a little messy. And it's hard because it looks like gameplay. You can't make like smooth camera moves for what I was trying to do. To match like a normal kind of animation style, you don't need the camera, and you don't really need the camera until you're ready to output. The only reason you need a camera is to output your movie file, but you can do all the animation and get everything set ahead of time and then start putting your camera where you want to have coverage. Kind of like in like the real world of acting and stuff, got a bunch of people on stage doing their acting and then they come in with the camera and kind of film it from different angles. So, and you can have multiple cameras kind of cover the same stuff and then edit it later. So you don't need them right away. You just need them when you want to output what it would be looking through. Does that half answer that, or is there more you want to ask on that?
The idea I had in my mind was like like there's like a scene, and then I just want the camera to move from like right to left, and then like I'll wait there, and then I'll move back from left to right.
So for the camera to do that, you could actually, because the camera has transforms as well. So the same way you got the box spinning, you would do that to the camera. You would transform it, you would keyframe it to kind of move, and then you would keyframe it to move back a little bit later. Is that?
Yeah.
And what you can do is say it's across. You don't have to put the cameras in a shot. You can put the cameras in that upper level sequence as well. So say there's a whole bunch of shots going on and action going on. You can make even a camera at the master level or the all shots and render through that new camera. So they don't, the good and bad thing is like, you can kind of do a bunch of things a bunch of different ways. So it's kind of hard to say you have to do it this way because that's a way to do it, but you could also do it this way. You could also do it this way, which makes it a kind of hard tool to teach because too many options sometimes is overwhelming. You're like, yeah. But yeah, I'd say if you just want to kind of move the camera to look around, you would just keyframe the transforms on the camera and just move them around like an object.
I see. Yeah. Thank you.
Yes. Let me double check. That's not okay. Good. I'm still good. Let's see. I see April has a hand.
So you know, meshes and stuff, how would you change the color of them? Because I looked through the details and I tried changing it like we did with the light bulb, but there was no option for color at all. So how do we change?
So when you select the object, I'm waiting for my project's really big. Or did I crash it? I hope I didn't crash it. No, it's still loading. Where did it go? I should have a pop-up somewhere. Anyway, when you pick an object, you'll see there's a material option. If you do, and it should look like a little sphere. If you double click that, that'll open a new window. And there'll be a place where you can it get kind of, depending what the asset is, it can get kind of messy in there. When mine loads, I'll show you. But basically what you're doing is modifying the material or the surface property, and there should be an input for base color. And then you would change the base color. It's a few steps to get to it. If mine ever loads, I'll show it on mine. But yeah, that's a material thing. Now, if it's a color, like say you're trying to change the shirt on a character, that color is coming from, like if it's a design like this, that's coming from an image. That gets a little bit trickier. So we'll save that for like the future. I should find some good videos for anybody who's like, but no, I want to know. I'll have to just send videos on that because that's like a whole class topic. What else? Anybody? I don't know where my file is. It's just thinking hard. What percentage does it say it's at? It is at, where's the window where it's loading? 95%. So it's almost open. It's probably killing my memory, all my memory. It's almost there. What other questions here? Oh, Rock Sheet. You have a question or just hand up? Hopefully hopefully it opening isn't killing my whole machine completely and you guys can still hear and see me. Sometimes this gets pretty CPU heavy and knocks your machines about a bit. You guys can
No, I don't have a question. I'll just lower my hand.
I just see you got the little gold hand still up, so I thought you might have a question.
I had a question.
Fire away.
So when I saved, like when I rendered my movie, if I made it more than 5 seconds, it kind of like switched to a different angle that I didn't have like a camera at, and it would just stay there. And I don't like, how do I fix that?
What does it do when you're playing it before rendering it? Does it
It's normal. It's like exactly how I want it. But then when I save it and I go and open it, it kind of like flashes to a different angle.
Do you have it open?
I don't think I do.
Okay. I was gonna say we could look, but I don't see it. We could try and look at that later too, because you know what's funny is I'm doing a project for work right now too. I can't show you because it's top secret, but I'm actually having a weird thing when I look through the camera, the textures are flashing, but when I don't look through the actual camera, everything's fine. So right before we started class, I had to close that real quick. But yeah, there's weird things happen sometimes. So yeah, I'd be interested to try and figure out what that is too. See if you can load it real quick and we can look at it, and it'll probably be faster. Does mine still say 95%? What is it doing? Again, mine is huge. It's like gigabytes. I mean, it's my short's not that long. It's like 3 minutes, but it's got 5 different environments, tons of stuff that I downloaded from the marketplace. It's got the metahumans in it, which, I mean, I didn't do that great of a job of them looking, but I mean, they take a lot of data because they have tons of animation on them. It's got a lot of motion capture. It's just a pretty heavy scene. I thought it would open by now, but I guess not. What else should I tell you all? We went over how to add audio. Yeah, so DaVinci Resolve is it used to not be free and now it's free. So that's a weird business model, but okay. So DaVinci Resolve is a good video editor. You can make your videos in there and add your audio and do all your tricky tech stuff. Way I want to show, I can't remember what I was going to show you in my scene. How I organized it just to have a bunch of different shots. You know what I could do as well? I was like, I record a video for everything all the time. I actually made because I'll probably have to go on a little bit. I made about a 20-minute video that goes through my Unreal scene that I did to make my short film. And I talk about this I got from the marketplace, this I did by hand, this I did with motion capture. I output these individuals. So what I was gonna show you, I actually kind of already made a video of as well for people. I'll probably put a link in the Slack to just I don't have that many videos. I think I have like 5 videos or 6 videos. So there's one that's called the making of car seeds. That's the little short I did. So I'll put a link to that in Slack, and if this doesn't open in seconds. What other questions now that my Unreal's stolen with my short that takes forever to load? What other questions anybody got? Are you guys feeling good? You're gonna go make some short films now? Go ahead.
What do we have to do for the week?
For the what?
For the week. What do we have to do for the week? Homework thing that we have to animate.
Make a movie. It's pretty wide open. Whatever. Make a movie with some voices and some camera shots. I mean, from here it's kind of over into your hands now of what you guys want to do with it. I know Cottalango is trying to arrange some sort of like master plan that he had for some of you doing some shorts for something that I was just going to help get you some base knowledge. Oh, you know what I'll do as well? So because you all have Unreal, you all have logins, they have a really good set of training videos as well that'll take you into like the next steps for anybody interested in like more things. I mean, you kind of have enough knowledge at this point to make little short videos with audio and do little things. But if you're like, I want to do materials, I want to change the shirt on my character, I want to do crazy lighting, that won't be able to do for, hey, here's this thing I was looking for. This is a totally unrelated. This is like a little thing that we use for our dog that keeps him off of things. I didn't realize it was on my desk this whole time. I'm glad I saw that. Yeah, so I'll send where you can find additional stuff for people who really want to dig in, like, or say you wanted to get into the program that spins the cube without having to keyframe it. So I'll put that on there. And then, okay, I see Mina put her stuff in there too. So yeah, I'll put that on there. So for continued learning. So probably most of my involvement with you all kind of wraps up this week. I mean, I'll keep an eye on the Slack, but I don't think we'll have more classes per se, other than this is like a good head start to give everybody like a good, go make movies now, you can do it. And then when you get stuck, and like, especially if stuff's like broken or like you like the question of the camera's not doing what it should do, put those in Slack. I'll try to help you guys through those individual ones. But as far as learning content from here, I'll defer most of that over to the Unreal's learn videos, because that gives a little more advanced stuff. So yeah, that's the homework. Make a movie. I know that's a wide open homework assignment. Well, my thing seems stuck and I gotta get ready for a class that starts at 1:30 in a little bit. So I guess I'll keep in touch with you guys through Slack, and I'll try to fix who was that who had the camera thing? Is your scene loaded? Should we look at it real quick before I gotta go? Or is yours taking a lot of time to load like mine?
I'm sending it on the Slack, so like you can see the two different things, like from the camera and like what it downloaded as.
Oh, where's my Slack window? You have it open on your machine currently?
No, it's on another computer.
Oh, okay.
It's still sending. I think it's taking a little bit of time.
Did my Slack tab go? There it is. Might be a case where I'd have to screen share eventually with you and see the actual file, because it would be did you put it in general? Where'd it go? Let's see. 'Tis but a scratch.
Yeah, I think it's in general.
All right, it must still be loading. Oh, okay. Let me play through this. All right, so that's that one. Now what's the other one look like? Hey, my project finally opened. Oh, compiling 8,000 shaders. It's gonna take a while. Oh yeah, that is pretty static, isn't it? Yeah, let's find a time to do a screen share for that, because that's gonna be offhand, because it looks like, well, here's a question. Do you have it open now though, even though it's on another computer?
Yeah.
So see where in the one where it's actually moving, it says pilot active Cine camera 13. Like that's the, what I would double check is, let me open mine really quick to show for the example. I can match that at least, even though you can't really see mine. Where'd Slack go? I mean, where's Zoom? Let me share my screen again. So here, what are you using? Just one shot, one camera?
Yeah, just one camera.
So double check. What you could double check is, so if you're looking through your camera and everything looks the way you want it to look, but then when you're rendering, it's not doing, what you want to make sure is where it says camera cuts here, that the camera that's listed is the same camera that you want to render from.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Like,
Yeah.
and then if it's not, so if it's not, you can just hit delete here and then hit plus, add a camera, because the camera cuts is kind of the master camera, that, because you could have more than one camera in a shot, but we haven't gone over that, but you could, but you still have to make sure you have the right camera. So in this case, cam 1 is the camera that I want. So I make sure cam 1 is set to be the camera cuts there. Or if you don't have, say you got rid of this camera cuts, it'll also not work. So you got to go to add a track and then add another, where do I add a camera cuts track? Oh, when you add a new camera, it comes in. Or you can add, where can you add a new camera cuts? Oh, I already have one, so it's right there. So that might be the issue.
Okay. Oh.
I still have like a ton of shaders to compile here, so I'm not gonna be able to show you guys this. But like I said, it's in the video. Like what I'm gonna show you, what I would have shown you now is totally in the video as well. So when you hit play on the video, just pretend I'm talking live. I would say the same stuff. All right, I need to go. So I'll keep my eyes on the Slack. You guys have done a lot in just 2 classes, really. So be proud of yourselves for that. And then just keep working. It's definitely a little by little kind of, just keep aim small, and then you get a reward, right? You're like, hey, I did it. And then, hey, I did it. Hey, I did it. Don't think I'm going to make an 1.5 hour long Pixar movie. No, then you'll never have time to, I don't have time to do that either. So just try and do a little bit at a time and make it a little better and add funny stuff and, you know, have fun with it. It's summertime. Have fun. All right, everyone, I got to go. I'll keep my eye on Slack and post if you get stuck on stuff.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You bet.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye, everybody. Bye.